Man, you already know what it is. Jay Williams, Let's Live Life, and we're back. But you got a secret. You got a really big secret. You got a really bad secret. You think ain't nobody gonna find out. How many times I got to tell you, they're gonna find out. Everybody's gonna know. They're not gonna know. Oh, they're gonna know. And when everybody finds out what you did, you better pray that the God you pray to comes to your rescue. But from what I've seen, it's usually not God that comes to your aid. It's usually the guards, other inmates, something of that caliber. Now, true indeed, the worst part of everything you've done is the crime itself. But the worst is yet to come. When you find yourself locked up with men that got wives, men that got children, men that had lives, men that value the people in their circle, only to find out that you're human trash. Only to find out that somebody like you thought you were going to fly below the radar. Go become part of an organization, a religious organization. Maybe he was seeking, I don't know, forgiveness. Maybe he was seeking protection. Maybe he thought that behind that book and that religion that he could hide. Or that people would say, he's a man of God. Let him be. Whatever it is, I can tell you this. When everybody finds out why you're in there, and everybody's going to find out about this guy today, none of that's going to save you. Because you're either with it or you're against it. If you protect him, that means you're with what he did. You know, they say only God can judge me. Let me tell you something about prison. Everybody's going to judge you. Everybody is going to judge you. You thought that the worst thing that could happen happened when you went to court. No, that's not the worst thing that could happen. The worst thing is still to come. The worst thing is going to happen when everybody finds out why you're in there. Being a white Muslim, having bad charges, getting exposed, trying to take the easy way out. This wasn't even the easy way. This is like the most brutal way possible you could have. Enough with all that. I have a crazy story in store for y'all today. And if you're new to the channel, make sure that if you like this content, you like me, you like the channel in general, and you want to see more of this, you hit that subscribe button. You turn those notifications to all. A lot of people saying they don't get notifications. Put it on all and stay tuned for this and much more. With all that being said, you know how to seen it. You know how to lived it. So let's relive it. Now, if you're a fan of this type of content, you watch guys that do prison content, jail content, reform content, you're going to hear a lot of stories about how they check paperwork when you first come into prison. Now, unfortunately, they don't do that here. They do it in a lot of places. They don't do it in every single state. To be completely honest, that's more of a West Coast thing. The East Coast is more kind of like the military. Don't ask, don't tell. But every now and then, somebody's going to come across why you're locked up. Guys might do something weird that strikes your interest, that piques your interest. So now you want to know why he's locked up. Somebody gets on the phone, call home. Hey, look, such and such name. Google this name real quick. Google wasn't a thing at the time, but that's now what they're doing. Google this name real quick. Back then it would be, hey, go to the court website, type in such and such name, and let me know why he's locked up. Very common. Now with the guy in today's story, I'd never seen this guy, never heard of this guy, had never heard about this guy's case. I had stuff going on in my life. I'm not the guy that sits around watching the news all day. That doesn't mean that other people don't know. Other people haven't done time with him. And that's what ultimately led to this guy's demise. Or should I say, the takedown of his current life and situation. We have a guy by the name of Wash. Now, I'll get into what Wash means a little bit later on in the video, but we've got a white guy named Wash. Wash is 5'11", maybe 6 foot tall, really lanky, skinny, white dude. When I first met Wash, he had this long, skinny beard. He had just come out the hole, so I guess while in the hole, he grew his beard out, because you can't have them in general population. You can now, but at the time, you couldn't grow your beard. But in meeting Wash, he's just a typical looking white dude with this stringy-ass long beard. So this guy comes in from the hole with a whole bunch of other inmates. A lot of times they'll do a hole dump, which means you got a bunch of guys going into the hole, so they got to make space. So they let a whole bunch of guys out all at once. And we get a couple of these guys from the hole. That's when we get Washed. Now, if you pay attention, you'll find out a lot about a person real quick just by paying attention. And what I noticed is when he walked in the pod, he said, Assalamu alaikum. He says this to another Muslim brother, letting me know this guy is a white Muslim. Being a white Muslim in this state is frowned upon. I do think, in my experience of watching it, a lot of the white guys that become Muslim because they're scared. Not all of them. So if you're white Muslim, I'm not saying you're scared. Becoming Muslim you are embraced. They're going to take you in. You become one of them. They kind of wipe off the skin color, and now you praise Allah. As I've said, this is very frowned upon in DOC. Other white dudes are going to look at you like, man, this scary ass dude became Muslim. Like, oh, you a Muslim now. No more dope games. Wash was a white Muslim. He goes on in the cell, takes the beard off, fixes his hair, changes out of the dingy-ass clothes he's been into, gets his property, and swaps into something a little more comfortable. He comes out, talks to the Muslim guys. They all kind of gather over in the corner, introduce him. Other guys know him. This is Wash. I did time with him. And in that moment there, he's embraced. To everybody else, we don't know him. To be honest, to everybody else, seeing this, it's like, he's a goofy. It just is what it is. Now, in my opinion, that's the general consensus when it comes to DOC and white guys in my state being Muslim. At first, nothing about him really stood out. He's just doing his time like I am, doing his time like everybody else. Nothing really stands out about the guy. But let me break down a couple things that usually raise suspicion about somebody locked up. Quiet guys. You'll hear, go in there, be quiet, stay to yourself, don't bother nobody. A lot of times being quiet can be a good thing. It can also be a bad thing. When somebody's super quiet like that, it's usually an indicator that he doesn't want to talk to nobody, doesn't want to be talked to, which means he could be hiding something or don't want to answer any questions. Now, Wash was in my pod for a good amount of time. I'd say Wash was in there 8, maybe 9 months before anything ever popped off. He would make salat. He would meal up with the other Muslims. He eventually got moved out that cell to gang member and got put in the cell with the Muslim brother of his. They would go out on the yard and make salat. Salat is the Muslim prayer. That's when they pray to Allah. They usually do this 5 times a day. And you would see the Muslims on the yard. I'm talking 50, 60, sometimes upwards of 100 Muslims all at once. They've got their rugs laid out and they're praying. They're making salat. And no matter where they were making prayer at or what time of day it was, you could spot Wash. He's legitimately the only white guy in all of these Muslims. Anytime something happens in prison, you're going to hear about it. There's nothing going on. It's a pretty boring environment. So anything that happens is a form of entertainment, a form of excitement. It's something new. It's something to talk about. Dudes are always talking. That's all they do. Prison is one of the most gossiping and just yap places you're ever going to find. Now, without being told that something was going on, I knew something was going on. His demeanor changed. He went from just nonchalantly kicking it with the Muslim dudes to kicking it with this one dude a whole lot. And this was a big-ass dude doing a life sentence, multiple homicides, never going home, that had given his life to the Muslim religion and had kind of calmed his violent ways down. Now, at the time, I didn't know why Wash had gotten so close to this dude. But when it was all said and done, it made sense. This was a form of protection. He had something going on in the background that nobody else knew about. And staying close to this guy, I guess he thought, maybe if I befriend him when all this comes out, maybe this dude will help protect me. I mean, I am Muslim after all. All is forgiven through God, right? That's what it's supposed to be. Everything is forgiven that you did. You just, hey, look, I'm sorry. I know I did this. That was wrong. But that's not how it is with other inmates. As I've said, we get the hole dumps. We get the guys that are constantly coming out the hole. You got guys constantly going to the hole. Guys going on an investigation. Every now and then on these bigger levels, you don't see guys go home a lot. Most of the guys there have a lot of time. I've been in pods that we didn't have anybody leave for a whole year straight. Then you got guys coming in from this prison, guys coming from receiving, guys coming from the other side of the compound. It flips. When I'm telling you it flips, it flips. The pod flips nonstop. You fast forward a year, out of 80-some men, it might be 30 guys in here that were here 12 months ago, and 50 of these guys are newer. So month in, month out, guys come, guys go. That's just how the system works. Well, as I said, we're about 8, 9 months in now. Wash has been here. And sadly enough, this dude is from my city. He's from Richmond. Oh, yeah, who you know in Richmond? And for him to be from the city, nobody knew him. I didn't know him. Or maybe he was just not telling me names because if we did know some of the same people and I said, hey, you know this guy Wash, that's when they would tell me what I'm going to tell you here shortly. But out of nowhere, something changes with this dude. He starts linking up with this big dude, and anywhere that big dude goes, he goes. If this guy goes to Jumar, he goes with him. If this guy is making salat, Wash is right beside him. He would sit with him. He would meal with him. He would walk the track with him. He would work out with him. To the naked eye, they look like the best of friends. Then we get these new guys in. And I'm not in there when the new guys come in. I come back in later that day. Probably 3:30, 4 o'clock, I return from work. When I mean work, yes, I worked inside the prison. If you don't know, watch the channel and you'll find out more. But when I come in, the first thing I notice is Wash isn't sitting with this dude. Wash is sitting with another big-ass dude that I have never seen before. This is a new guy. And Wash is sitting at the table. Now, they're not talking loud enough that anybody can hear them, which is very common. Like I said, prison's nosy. You don't want people in your conversation. But dude is sitting on the table, and he's doing something that's a little weird while he's talking to Wash. As he's sitting there, he's got his elbow on the table, he's got his hand up, and he's covering his mouth as he talks. Kind of, I don't know if you don't want people to hear him or see what he's saying, but for whatever reason, he's got his hand like this as he's talking to this dude. His body language is real tense. Wash is putting off these scary ass vibes as he's listening to this dude. Any type of macho he had in him has kind of left him. The shoulders have slumped down. He's sitting there with his hands in his lap, and he's talking to this dude, and this dude's talking to him. I look at the new dude. That's the only thing that really draws my attention. I walk on by. I go to my cell. I come back out. I sit on the bench, and I'm looking around. And what I do notice, I'm very big on details and paying attention to the small things. Stay alert, stay alive. What I do notice is that when this big dude gets up and Wash gets up and they part ways, there's no handshake, there's no dab, there's no pound, there's no, like, goodbye. There's no signs of this is a good thing and they're friends. It was just kind of like this dude was saying what he had to say and they went in their separate directions. Now, this is a Muslim brother also. Let me not forget that part. This is a Muslim brother also. After that, I don't really see them two talking anymore. I see Wash goes back to hanging out with the big guy. Now, I don't know if the big guy asked him, hey, what was that about? You know the brother, you know the Muslim brother, blah, blah, blah. Whatever the case was, it was clear that they were hiding something. There's something going on there. You can peep it. If you're a convict, you can see there's something here. What I do see is that on store day, we all go to commissary. They call the first 20. When I say 20, you can't just let 80 men go to commissary. So they'll say, stand by for commissary, first 20, give me your IDs and head on to commissary. So we do all that. Wash is in the group I'm in. This big dude is in the group I'm in. We go to commissary and they go before me. Wash gets his commissary and the big dude's not really talking. He's greeting other Muslim brothers. Hey, how you doing to this dude? Hey, what's up to this dude? Not a lot of rap. Not even talking to Wash like talking about. But Wash is at the commissary window and the lady's giving him his commissary. Some would go in his bag and then he would put some in his big dude's bag. I see this. Other Muslim brothers see this. Now, you could think, all right, he's giving that to dude because they're both Muslims. That's his homeboy. If that was the case, he would break bread when he got back to the building. But doing it at commissary, rather than 80-some people see you giving this guy your commissary, giving him your money, it's only a select few of us over there. And a bunch of guys that already went before us. So I think at this point, it's like 7 or 8 of us left in the commissary. By the time Wash is finished putting stuff in this dude's bag, and mind you, man, I tell you this now, this dude didn't even go to commissary. His sole purpose in going over there was to make sure that Wash got his commissary and what Wash was going to give him went into his bag. And when he was done, this dude had a big-ass bag. Looks like maybe $50, $60 worth of stuff. Not the biggest bag, but a good amount. And Wash was left with maybe 25, 30 bucks in his bag. Small bag, big-ass dude gets big bag. Why are you paying this man? What does he know? What do you owe? It's one of the two things. Either he knows or you owes. One of the two. Once again, there's no dap up. There's no pound. There's no none of that. Big dude takes the bag, throws it over his shoulder, goes on back to the building, walks by the other Muslim, assalamu alaikum, and they keep it moving. This will become a reoccurring thing. Now, I don't know what they said amongst each other. I don't know what he told the other Muslims. I don't know what this big dude told the other Muslims. But there was definitely a cover-up, and we're about to get into it. Parental discretion is advised. So for whatever reasons, they make some moves. And this big-ass Muslim dude that was in our pod that was, let's just go ahead and put it like it is, extorting the white Muslim dude, gets moved upstairs. They put him in what we call gangland. At the time, this building has 4 pods. And the pod upstairs on the right, they put most of the gang members in there. And then every now and then, they'd need space in our pod to put somebody else that they wanted downstairs. So they'd snatch somebody, put them upstairs. They'd take the big Muslim boy and move him upstairs. Like clockwork. They call commissary. Wash goes out. Dude standing out in front of the building, sees Wash, catches up with him. They go over there. This has been going on for about a month and a half, 2 months now. To the point that it's raising suspicion amongst the Muslims, amongst us, amongst everybody. What is it? I mean, is a Muslim extorting a Muslim? This don't even make sense. Something ends up happening. I don't know if Wash didn't have the money. I don't know if his people didn't send the money or he was running games. But he doesn't pay this big dude. He doesn't go to commissary. One day, this dude's out front of the building waiting for Wash to come out. He's standing there with his bag. Wash doesn't come out. So he ends up coming up in our pod, going to the cell where Wash is at. Wash's cell, he's over at commissary. What's up with my stuff? I can only speculate what's up with my stuff. No other reason he came in there with that empty-ass commissary bag. Wash didn't go to commissary. But dude goes in a cell, and by the time he comes out, he's got a bunch of stuff in his bag. Personal stuff. Stuff he had in the cell. Whatever he had left, this dude is gone in the cell now. Until Kane, that was dude's name, Big Kane. Dude comes out the cell, and he's got a whole bunch of Wash stuff, and the other Muslim brothers are kind of looking at him like, everybody else is looking at him like, what is going on here? Well, only certain types of people get extorted like that. Scary people get extorted. If you're scary, you can get extorted real quick. I mean, because you're not going to fight back, so they're just going to take it. Bad charges being the #1 reason you would get extorted. The following week comes, Wash don't go to commissary again. Dude comes back in the pod. Wash ain't got nothing to give him. They have some words. Dude gets a little loud. Dude turns around and leaves up out of here. So now these Muslim dudes call a meeting. They call the big dude. They call Wash. They call them all. We go out in the yard that evening, and they've got this big meeting going on. I'm not Muslim, so I don't get to go over there and hear what's going on. But I know what they're doing. Why are you taking Wash's stuff? Why are you taking the Muslim brother's stuff? That's supposed to be your brother. Or me and him got an arrangement worked out. What's the arrangement? It's personal. We're brothers. There is no secret. What's the arrangement? It's personal. Big Kane is keeping Wash's secret. He knows why Wash is in prison. And let me back this up. Prior to all this, Wash was GD. A lot of gang members, they'll denounce their gang and then go to religion. No shots at anybody. This is just what I've seen. They'll denounce the gang and then turn to religion, either thinking that God's going to save them or whatever their reason. And a lot of guys that I've seen go from being gang members and convert to being Muslim did it out of fear or trying to escape something. And then you got some that just want to be better people and closer to God. Whatever the case may be, there's tension in the air. This big dude wants to do something to the skinny-ass white Muslim dude, but the other Muslims ain't going to allow it. But at the same time, he's such a big-ass dude that, aside from the dude that Wash tried to really befriend, which ain't going to go against the grain, he's not about to fight this dude for Wash. They talk, and big dude says, look, we're not getting into what's going on. He's going to continue to pay me, and that's just what it is. Other Muslims start telling dude, he's not paying you no more. Wash ain't going to give you no more money. That is your brother. You have to let it go. I'm not letting it go. And Wash is also telling them, nah, leave it alone. This is 100%. You're going to keep paying me. The moment you get them to step in and try to help you, I'm just going to put you on Front Street, and the wolves are going to eat your ass up in here. Remember, men got wives, children, family, and everybody, I think we can agree, hates someone that's done something heinous to their family members. The following week, Wash goes to commissary. The dude meets up with him, takes the majority of the commissary. Not only do you owe me for this week, but you go back rent. Oh, yeah, I need my back. Reparations are due. There's tax on it. Let me get mine. Now, the other Muslims ain't going for it no more. That's it. That's done. Cut off. You're not extorting dude. You're not paying him. It makes all of us look bad. We're supposed to be men of God, and you're here ripping this dude off right in front of us. And then you don't break bread with us. You upstairs. You acting brand new. We're not allowing it no more. Now, this takes place in the pod. He comes in the pod where they have this meeting. It's raining outside. This guard in the booth ain't really tripping. She lets him come on in with some other guys. And they hold this big-ass meeting over in the corner. Things get a little heated. So you're not paying me no more, Wash. That's what's going on? I'm not getting paid no more? Go ahead and say in front of everybody that you're not paying me. Wash ain't really saying nothing. The other Muslims and the big dude that Wash kicked it with said, he's not saying that. We're saying that. We're not going to stand by and watch you extort our brother no more. That's supposed to be your brother. Both of y'all worship Allah. What are you doing? That ain't my brother. That's a piece of shit right there. He said, well, y'all protecting then. Because you either with it or against it. I know why he's locked up. And that's why I'm doing what he did. Wash, you want to tell him why you locked up? Now, this doesn't just draw the Muslims' attention. This draws the attention of all the other guys standing around. Where they're holding this meeting, they're cells. You're not going to go to a corner and there not be cells. So now you got all types of dudes listening. Kane goes in and tells them, that might be y'all's brother. That ain't my brother. And I ain't letting shit slide. I don't even know why y'all got a white boy being Muslim to begin with. Like, that shit's cool. Y'all know that shit's frowned upon. He's a clown. But aside from that, he's a sicko. He's a chomo. And with his own family member. Everybody hears what this guy is saying now. It gets quiet. Everybody's looking at Wash. What's up? You got a bad charge? Nah, it ain't even like that. Don't even lie, bro. The last spot we was at, you was gang. And then they found out why you was locked up. Tell them what they did to you. Tell them how them boys busted your head. And Wash, at what point did you become Muslim? You was gang. Now you Muslim? Dude tells him, this type of stuff makes me question this right here. Like the whole entire religion. We can let things be forgiven and let it slide for the sake of him coming to the religion, but some things y'all can't let go. This dude's in the middle of talking, and Wash goes, man, let me talk to you, man. Come on, let me talk just to you one-on-one. The other Muslim brothers, no. Anything y'all got to say, you can say right here. Let me talk to you one-on-one. Spin the block with me. That means let's walk circles inside the pod. Tells the other dudes, we're going to figure it out, man. I'm gonna stop charging him rent. We're going to talk about it. But hold up. You saying the man's got crazy charges? What type of crazy charge? Look, y'all can talk to him afterwards. Let me talk with him. We'll figure it out. The other Muslims going about their business. Go back here, go back there. This group breaks up. Now you got the big dude, Wash, walking around inside the joint. Once again, he's got his hand up as he's talking, trying to cover up what he's saying. And what he's doing is pretty much trying to figure out how to continue to get paid without these other guys knowing. Shit's about to get real crazy in this story. Just follow me now. It's crazy. So whatever happens in that walk, they agree to something. I don't know. Have my people send you the money. They figure out some way for Wash to continue paying this dude to keep his secret. But like I've told y'all, soon as the seed is planted, people are going to start to question why you're locked up. Now, the dude that ran the Muslims at the time, and I hate to say ran the Muslims, but he was like one of the guys that other guys came to, was a guy, like I told you, that is never going home. Prior to him, I watched his transition to becoming Muslim. And let me tell you this, it was a good thing. Because prior to that, the dude was a savage. When I mean savage, his knives weren't for play. He didn't just get active when it was time to get active. He was a spaz. He was a whole entire flip out in a moment's notice. Aside from the point that he was brutally strong, he was brutally violent when it came to that knife. But the seed has been planted that something is off with Wash. What does this dude do? As they're still walking, he goes and gets on the phone. Calls home. I need you to check somebody out. Let me know why they're locked up. I'll call you back in a few days. This dude leaves out. Wash goes over, talks to them. I don't know what story he spun. I don't know what he said to get these people up off of him or to stop questioning about him. But to the naked eye, everything seems good. What we all don't know, and what we found out later on, is that as all this is taking place, this guy goes and gets on the phone and is now digging into why Wash is locked up. Now, Wash used to walk around with this little kufi on his head. He had a little white kufi. If you know what a kufi is, you do. If you don't, you don't. It's pretty much Muslim head attire. I don't want to say it's this, but I know you have to be Muslim to have it. Like, I don't know the whole history, and I don't need you in the comment section saying, that's wrong. He wore a kufi. I go to work, I come in one day, and the first thing I notice is Wash sitting at the table, and he doesn't have that damn kufi on, and the side of his head's knotted up. Not too bad, like, not beat in, but it's got knots on it. It's got bruises on it. Somebody's definitely put that 5-finger punch on the side of his head. And what I don't see is any Muslims around him. They go and make salat that evening. What I don't see is Wash making salat with them. They're over in the corner, Allahu Akbar, and they're doing what they do. And Wash is still continuing to sit at the table. Something has happened while I was at work today. What is going on? I'm nosy. I need to know. Now, this is one of the few times I've seen the Muslims turn on one of their own. I've seen dudes with the most terrible charges be accepted. But at this place, they weren't going for that. Asked my celly, what's up with Wash? They done beat him up in the cell. Why they beat him up? Man got crazy charges. I mean, we kind of all figured that dude had said this, and this has been said, and nah. Such got on the phone, and it came back about Wash's charges. But couldn't, I mean, what'd he do? What's he a tree hopper, he a bush jumper? Like, is he a stalker? Like, he hops out on women, kids? Nah, it's worse than all that, bro. How can it be worse than that? What's worse than jumping on a woman or jumping on a kid? Like, how can it be worse? Bro, you ain't even ready. They had this dude out in the pod screaming in his face. One dude slapped him in front of everybody. He went in the cell with a dude on a one-on-one tip. A dude beat him up. Took his kufi, took his rug, took his Quran, denounced him, and sat him out at the table. Told him sit there. Mind you, I told you he's in the cell with a Muslim. And his cellmate would be the one to beat him up. Tells him, if I'm in the cell, you can't come in the cell. Matter of fact, you're going to start looking for a new cell. You're not selling up with me. Okay, enough with all that. Why is the man locked up? Sometimes I hate even talking about this shit, right? He says, Jay, the man took it from his little sister. You know what I mean when I say took it. You can't say but certain things on YouTube. He took it. Took what? Her. 11 years old. Yeah. He took it, Jay. That's not the worst of it, Jay. It gets worse. How does it get worse than your 11-year-old sister? After he took it, he set her on fire, set the house on fire. That would be the end of her. The fire was set deliberately. The autopsy showed that she had been prior to losing her life. This man did the unthinkable to his 11-year-old sister. And then after doing it, mind you, he was in his early 20s when he did this. Then after doing it, he not only set the house on fire, he set her on fire. Yeah, the paperwork is saying this and that, and that he doused her in gasoline, poof, lit the house. So to make a long story short, he did what I said to his sister, and then took her life by way of arson. I said, so they've X'd him out, because you don't usually see Muslims putting people off. This ain't a gang. They ain't putting him off the set, but they can't get jiggy with it. They can't stand behind what he's got going on. I said, well, it can't be but that bad. He's still in here. He ain't leaking everywhere. He ain't got knives hanging all out of him. Like, nah, because they're going to wash him up. They want money out of him. This big dude knew everything about Wash. The big dude's from my city also. Was in the jail with Wash. Remembers his whole case. Went through receiving with Wash. And that's why he's extorting him. You're going to pay me, or I'm going to tell everybody why you were in prison. The Muslims going to get at you. White dudes is going to get at you. Gang members is going to get at you. You're going to end up paying with more than just money. Somebody else going to get at you. You're going to end up paying with them cheeks. But from here, it only gets worse. There's a beginning and there's an ending to everything. This can't be the ending. You're not just going to have these type of charges, which are some of the most heinous type charges. The thought of what he did is just, I can't wrap my head around. To do something like that to a female, a family member, and then to try to cover up what you did. You take their life. One of the worst possible ways you could take a human's life. Fire? Fire? So you did something like this to this girl, which had to have been painful and terrifying. 11 years old. From somebody she trusted. And then, when you think things can't get any more terrifying, fire? I didn't know at the time that things always play out and things always end bad. I've come to understand that over the years. Now, the Muslims aren't protecting this dude. They've got him paying rent. They're not going to stop anybody else from doing what they want to do. But this time I had told y'all, the sergeants are not letting you check in. Lieutenants ain't letting you check in unless you give them some names. You tell them what's going on. He had tried to get up out the pod. But in order to do that, he's got to tell on these dudes. And these Muslim dudes are deep. Anywhere you go, they're going to get at you. So wherever they send you, you're pretty much dead man walking the next spot you hit. I don't know what it would be that sent him to the point of where he was. The point that you can't leave here. He's talked to the guards and tried to get moved. They won't move him. Whatever happened, something snapped. It would be late night when all this stuff unfolded, probably upwards of 10:30, 11 o'clock, because we were getting ready to lock in for the night. I go to my cell. I pass by Wash. He's coming down the stairs, and he's got all his shower stuff on, and he heads on over to the shower. No sooner than I get in my bed, I lay back. I take my toe, I change the channel, big toe status, change the channel on the TV, and I hear commotion. I hear screaming. It's a scream. I've heard guys scream from crazy assaults, from stabbings, from very different things. I've heard men scream in different tones and different demeanors. This was a scream that I don't think I've ever heard duplicated. This was a terrifying, blood-curdling, painful, oh my God, help me type scream. And then you got other dudes screaming, do something, put water on it, do da. I come to the door, this dude is laying in the floor, and around him, there's fire. What I mean around him, there's fire, there's like drips on the floor that are on fire, and this dude is on fire. Fire! Burning! Now, he's a good distance away, probably 70, 80 feet from my cell, right in front of the showers, and he's burning. He's screaming. He's rolling. He is butt-ball naked on the floor, rolling around. You got guys throwing water on him. You got guys trying to do this, trying to do that, but he's legitimately burning, and he is screaming. This dude went in the shower, coated himself in baby oil, completely coated himself, and lit himself on fire. And then, I guess his plan was to be in a shower where he could turn the shower on real quick. And now they know, all right, he tried to burn himself up. We're going to send him to the loony bin. He's definitely going to get shipped up off of here. His issues here are going to end. But here's the problem. Oil and water don't mix. Hey, stupid, if you set yourself on fire with baby oil, water's not going to put it out. For whatever reason, Wash goes in the shower and he sets himself on fire. He proceeds to douse himself in baby oil and light himself on fire. Showers are directly in front of the control booth, so the guard's going to see the flames. She's going to see any type of light coming out that shower. Got half-stalled doors. He sets himself on fire, turns the shower on to try to put his... No, fully in flames. The water is making it 1,000 times worse. He comes out, goes to run and slips. His baby oil falls off him. There's little puddles of fire around him, and he's legitly burning. To the point the guards show up, they run him with the fire extinguisher, hit him with the fire extinguisher, throw a bunch of blankets on him. We need more blankets. And they start piling blankets on him, and they're spraying the fire extinguisher. By now, we've locked down. Standing in my doorway, watching this white Muslim that had taken advantage of his 11-year-old kid sister burn the house down with her in it. I'm now watching him burn next to the showers. He didn't lose his life. He survived. They got him up out of there. Came and got a bunch of the Muslim boys as well in the days to come. I guess whenever he got to the point that he healed up enough to talk, he told them everything that was going on. Trying to get that PC status, trying to get protective custody, trying to be put somewhere where he could never be touched again. I wouldn't see him no more after that. But a guy I worked with, I told y'all about, named Will, would go over to the infirmary one time doing some of the work. And this is probably 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks after this whole incident. He sees Wash. He comes back and says, we're sitting in the maintenance shop. I went to the infirmary. I seen that boy Wash. What's up with him? Got that man wrapped up like the mummy. Machines beeping. He's alive, he's moving, but he's crispy. Whole head wrapped up, face, arms, fingers, everything. He looks like he's that big around. He's just laying there all wrapped up. I don't know what ultimately happened to Wash. What I do know is that what goes around comes around. You can run, but you can't hide. Not in a place like prison. I guess this is the point where I'm supposed to like feel bad or something, or say, you know, that was crazy. Yeah, it was definitely crazy. That's why I said it takes a lot to shock. The situation with Wash was worse than I could have ever expected, man. I've got sisters. I love my sisters dearly. Females all through my family, from young to old. First of all, I could never imagine doing that to anyone. Anyone, much less a family member. So now for the rest of his life, here's the irony. Now for the rest of his life that he'll spend in prison, he's got to wake up every morning and look at that face that's crispy, that's toasty. And I hope that when he looks in that mirror, instead of seeing himself looking back at him, I hope that he sees his sister. Because she wasn't as lucky as Wash was. Crazy, man. Crazy. I don't understand why some religions will allow stuff like this within them. I don't think they denounced Wash because of what he had done. I think they denounced Wash because everybody else found out what Wash had done, and his big dude was putting it on display. I don't know what it was that broke him to the point that he set himself on fire. I will say this. For what he had done, he deserved much worse. Now, I left a lot of stuff out of the story today because I'm sure the people that are related to Wash, his family and all them, are going to see this video. So there were certain details I left out for sake of the family. And my heart goes out to y'all, and rest in peace to the girl that lost her life. Real quick, Wash was not his real name. Wash was the Muslim name he had given himself. You know what this means in Muslim? Or should I say Arabic, or however you want to word it? I mean, it's easy now. It means savage. Did the other Muslims not realize that this Muslim guy who's supposed to be about peace had adopted the name Savage? Sometimes the hints are there. You just got to know where to pick them up. This is the part where I'm supposed to leave you with something positive, something good, but I'm done with this story. I don't want to talk about it no more. Moving on. Hope y'all enjoyed the story. This is definitely, I don't want to call it karma because he self-inflicted it. But maybe it was. Maybe karma got in his ear and said, psst, do this. It only hurt for a second. You can put it out and they'll come get you. Yeah. I don't think he realized it, but wherever he goes, it's going to be really hard for him to blend in now. Y'all look for a crispy white dude in the system. Can't grow no facial hair because his face is all burnt up. Burns all over his body. It's a good chance you've come across him. If you've done time in VA, it's a very good chance that you've come across him. I'm gone, y'all. But anyways, these streets, these jails, these prisons, they're all just crazy worlds inside of an already crazy world we live in. And as always, y'all know what I'm doing. Just trying to keep y'all entertained. Oh, you're not entertained? And like always, this is Jay Williams. Let's live life. To all my real ones. And there are some real ones watching. Because y'all still watching me. Man, y'all know how we do. Salute. Rest in peace to that young lady. I'm gone.